Welcome back to SM Says Psych. If you've ever felt that agonizing millennial pause or found yourself physically recoiling at a viral video, you are engaging a biological circuit buried deep within your brain's pain matrix. Formally, this is vicarious embarrassment, the somatic sting. It is a physiological event where the body reacts to a social mistake with the same intensity as a direct physical threat. When you witness a public blunder, your autonomic nervous system takes over. Your heart rate slows, your sweat glands activate, and you might find yourself looking away or shrinking your posture. These reactions are involuntary survival reflexes, occurring before you've even had time to form a conscious judgment about what you're seeing. To understand why a stranger's mistake makes your palms sweat, we have to look at the brain's internal alarm system, known as the pain matrix. These specific regions, the anterior cingulate cortex and the left anterior insula, are the primary processors for physical trauma. They flare when you touch a hot stove. Neuroimaging shows these same circuits activate with equal intensity when observing a social violation. This happens even if the person on screen has no idea they're embarrassing themselves. To your nervous system, the psychological sting of social exclusion is processed as a literal, acute bodily sensation. Modern digital life forces us into a global network of high-definition failures, meaning our brains are constantly scanning for the reputational damage of strangers. You process this through your mirror neuron system, which runs real-time simulations of the actions and emotional states of every person you watch. This simulation often triggers empathic distress. Unlike standard empathy, this is a self-oriented, aversive reaction. You feel personal, vicarious anxiety, as if the threat on screen were happening to you. High-fidelity media artificially decreases psychological distance. Because the visual cues are so vivid, your mentalizing network treats a digital video as an immediate physical presence. This creates a unique modern burden. Our neural networks momentarily fail to distinguish between the social failure of a stranger on TikTok and a direct threat to our own secure standing. For early hominids, group inclusion was the only path to survival. Isolation meant losing access to food, shelter, and defense against predators. Ostracization was a death sentence. To the ancestral brain, breaking a social norm wasn't just a mistake, it was social death, a threat handled with the same urgency as starvation. This risk led to the development of an evolutionary safety net, a low-risk simulation that allows us to learn the parameters of group behavior without being the target of the group's anger. By experiencing the somatic sting while watching someone else, your brain updates its sociocognitive map. You learn which behaviors lead to exile without actually risking your own reputation. This mechanism is universal, but its intensity is shaped by our values. In collectivistic cultures, the sting is often more severe because the self is defined by its relationship to the harmony of the group. The painful wince we feel today is the modern echo of an ancient survival instinct, keeping our ancestors from being cast out into the dark. But there is a contradiction here. If cringe is an alarm for social death, why do we actively seek out cringe comedies and viral fail compilations? This paradox is explained by benign masochism, the enjoyment of a negative bodily reaction in a context that the brain recognizes as safe. Humor arises when your brain simultaneously registers a severe social violation and the fact that you are sitting safely behind a screen. Your cognitive appraisal system flags the threat as benign, allowing you to enjoy the intense affective stimulation without the risk of actual social fallout. Watching cringe content allows us to experience the rush of surviving a worst-case social scenario. When the video ends, we feel the intoxication of relief because our own reputations remain intact. This relief has fueled a cultural shift towards self-cringe. On modern platforms, people voluntarily broadcast their own humiliations as a form of radical authenticity. By triggering the audience's somatic sting, creators signal that they are pro-social and self-aware. The pain matrix response becomes a bridge of shared vulnerability rather than a signal for ostracization. fMRI studies show that the degree of activation in your anterior cingulate cortex correlates positively with your level of trait empathy. High trait empathy requires the capacity to construct an accurate internal model of another person's mind while physically sharing in their vulnerability. Your sensitivity to a stranger's awkwardness is the result of a highly evolved neurochemistry biased toward group cohesion. It is the biological mechanism that allows us to adopt the subjective reality of another person. Thanks for watching. If you've survived your latest brush with vicarious embarrassment, leave a comment, hit subscribe, and join the conversation at SM Says Psych.